Have you ever been in a room where someone powerful says something so shocking, the air literally changes? Where everyone hears it, but no one dares react. Now imagine being a college student, sitting just rows away from the president of your university, when he casually threatens violence against his own students. Most people froze. Some looked down. But I did something that would follow him for the rest of his career. I pressed record, and he never forgave me for it. Musical note the place that felt like home. College is strange. You arrive as a nervous teenager, and somehow leave feeling like a completely different person. For me, that transformation lived inside the music building. It wasn't impressive from the outside. Aging brick walls, drafty practice rooms, floors that creaked no matter how softly you walked. But inside, it was magic. You could hear sopranos warming up at 8 a.m., jazz ensembles clashing beautifully at noon, pianists chasing perfection late into the night. Music wasn't just something we studied. It was who we were. Our professors weren't just teachers either. They were mentors, protectors, believers. Some of them could have taught at elite conservatories. Instead, they chose us. And we loved them for it. Which is why what happened next felt less like a budget decision, and more like betrayal. Snake the new president. When the university announced a new president, most of us barely paid attention. Administration changes were just background noise to students juggling rehearsals and exams. Then he arrived, and suddenly, everyone noticed. He had this overwhelming presence, loud, boastful, the kind of man who filled every silence with stories about his connections and big plans. His handshake was too firm. His smile never quite reached his eyes. And there was something else, something unsettling. He seemed to enjoy attention a little too much, especially from young women on campus. Still, we told ourselves, every leader has quirks. What mattered was whether he cared about students. We would soon get our answer. Money bagged the secret that changed everything. What most students didn't know was that our music department survived because of a carefully managed trust fund. The university barely supported us otherwise. That fund paid our extraordinary instructors, kept programs alive, protected our future. Without it, the department wouldn't collapse overnight, but it would slowly fade away. And then, during one quiet December, the president approved a decision that drained more than half of it. Just like that, redirected toward a shiny development project. No warning, no discussion, no transparency. We didn't find out until 4 months later. I can still picture that meeting. Our department director stood in front of us, clutching a stack of papers so tightly her knuckles had turned white. Her voice trembled as she explained, the fund that should have lasted over a decade might survive one more year. The room went completely still. One student whispered, "What happens to us?" No one answered, because deep down, we all knew. Fire the anger that wouldn't fade. I remember walking back across campus afterward, barely noticing the spring sunshine. My chest felt tight. How could they do this without telling us? Without even pretending our department mattered? So I did something completely out of character for me. I went straight to the president's office. No appointment, just determination. When I explained what the department meant to us, he leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled, wearing the calm expression of someone utterly unconcerned. He promised he would do everything possible to restore the funds. Even as he spoke, I knew it wasn't true. And time proved me right. Nothing changed. But the moment that would define everything was still coming. Warning the day everything snapped. About a year later, tension spread across campus after an unrelated controversy. Students were frustrated. Rumors were everywhere. So the president called a large meeting. Hundreds of us packed into the room. At first, it felt routine, administrative reassurances, polished language. Then his tone hardened, his jaw tightened, and he said something that made my stomach drop. If I hear anyone causing problems, I will personally punch them out. There was scattered, nervous laughter. But I wasn't laughing. My heart started pounding. Did he just threaten students? Instinctively, I glanced at my bag. Inside was a small recording device I used for lectures, still running, capturing every word. And suddenly, a quiet thought rose above the fear. Someone needs to remember this. Direct hit the decision. I won't pretend I wasn't scared. Graduation was close. Why risk becoming a target? Why invite conflict with the most powerful person on campus? Then I thought about our music professors, future students, everyone too afraid to speak. Power thrives on silence. So that night, I uploaded the clip. Within hours, messages started appearing. By morning, reporters were calling. Local news first, then larger outlets. They all asked the same thing. Were you afraid? I answered honestly, yes, but not as afraid as the students who might feel they can't speak at all. By the weekend, the story exploded. Tornado when power gets challenged. The media pressure became relentless. Parents demanded answers. Donors started asking uncomfortable questions. Students talked about little else. Finally, cornered. The president issued a public apology. But apologies don't always mean regret. Sometimes, they mean someone got caught. And soon enough, I learned exactly how angry he was. Collision, the confrontation. A week before graduation, I was asked to come to his office. The moment I stepped inside, the tension was suffocating. He didn't offer me a seat, didn't smile. Instead, he told me I had damaged the university, scared away donors, embarrassed the administration. Then he said I should be ashamed. Ashamed. For a split second, doubt flickered. Then something stronger replaced it. Clarity. I met his glare and said calmly, maybe if you'd shown the music department the same consideration, none of this would have happened. His face flushed instantly. He shot to his feet, raising his voice, insisting the situations were completely different. Then came the insult. You are the worst student I have ever heard of. And you know what surprised me most? I didn't feel small. I felt powerful. Because for the first time, he couldn't control the narrative. Furious, he ordered me out of his office. But there was one thing he couldn't do. He couldn't expel me. So days later, I walked across that graduation stage smiling. Free. The revenge wasn't dramatic. It was lasting. From that moment forward, his reputation carried a shadow. Every search result, every whisper, led back to that recording. Even now, years later, when we cross paths at alumni events, he refuses to shake my hand, won't even meet my eyes. And every time it happens, I feel the same quiet satisfaction. Because the man who thought his voice was the only one that mattered was undone by a student who refused to stay silent. Turns out, courage is louder than authority. Revenge doesn't always look like destruction. Sometimes it looks like truth, like accountability, like choosing bravery in a room full of silence. I didn't expose him to ruin his career. I did it because leadership without integrity deserves to be questioned. And if I had the choice again, I'd press record every single time.